Of all the auto brands on the road today, only one has been named the best auto brand for 6 straight years. That brand is Mazda. Come shop and save on the award-winning lineup of new Mazdas right now at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on Airline.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bug Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Okay, there you go. Thank you, Marty. Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping that all is fabulously well with you and yours in this COVID-19 environment as we continue to trudge our way through yet another day. I am so happy this day because I found out recently that I can put up my boxing gloves, I can put away the brass knuckles, I don't have to worry about finding my Louisville Slugger, because the guy next to me, the last time I had him on the show, after reading his book and being so inspired by his life story, I told him, and apparently he took it to heart, that if he didn't run for something soon, we were going to fight. He and I would be rearranging furniture in here if he did not offer to serve the American people. Claston Bernard, Republican, and yes, you heard me right, Republican candidate for Congress. How are you today, my friend?
I am doing well, man. And look, we got to tell people that R is also for revolution.
Yes.
It's also reformation, and it's also restoration. That we're back in the party that we belong, man.
Amen.
That's it.
Amen. So, how's the campaign going?
Campaign is going. Look, I like talking to people. I want to be in the heart. I want to be in Plank Road. That's where I just came from. I like to be in the 6th, the 7th ward, 9th ward in New Orleans.
Right.
I like to be there because people come up to you and they talk to you and they share just, inspiring stories with you. In fact, you don't have to sell them. They just want to know, hey, there's another opportunity here. There's an option here. So I'm loving that. For me, if I can be in the street all day long, that's where I would be.
So what's the reception typically like for you when you roll up to a campaign stop, if you're just out at the grocery store or whatever, and you're talking with people and they find out you're conservative? What's that reception like?
You know, I think I'm connecting with their inner conservatism. So, you know, so a lot of times it's very receptive. It is actually, because, and I'll say it, statistically, majority blacks are conservatives.
Yeah.
40% is there. And then there's 30% that's actually swimming in the middle, in between, hey, where do I fit in? So the conversation that I have is to talk to them as people, not just talking points, not just throw things at them. It's to connect with them. So being out there is actually quite refreshing, you know, seeing it, because the certain media have a certain narrative, but when you go and you present and just say, hey, I'm here, they're actually open. They're open.
See, y'all thought that I was the only one. Y'all were just absolutely certain old Clarence is the only black conservative out there. And it's so refreshing to hear Claston say, the more people I talk to, particularly people of color, the more we start to realize, but I'm not the only one that thinks this way. And the conservative values are what we in the African American community have identified with over the years. But again, the narrative is such that unless and until you talk with people, you'd never know that. Let's talk about how tough campaigning is in a COVID-19 pandemic. What's that been like?
You know, to be honest, I'll say this: having the family support, you know, my wife and even my 2 baby girls, that makes a difference. Having, you know, my campaign with Troy and Juan and different people who are supportive, you know, George, there's a lot of people. It actually helps, and you learn to adjust. I think it's one of the things I wrote about in an article called The Ties That Bind. People, and I specifically was talking about the black race, how adaptability helped them to overcome the institution of slavery. And that's always a horrific system. It's likewise with COVID. People have adjusted. They are moving on. They're ready to continue moving to the next phase of their lives. And you know, so we make it possible. And for me, I like to meet people outdoors because of that. Just to, you know, hey, we, you know, try not to be in closed buildings. I like to be outside. I like to be able to project my voice when I talk. So the adjustment is, but there are people who are fearful. But we have to really remind them that it can be fatal for some people. We're not naive, but 98% of people recover. And so we need to emphasize that the recovery it could be rough on a lot of people, but the prognosis is that it's not a death sentence, you know, for 98%. So it's a mixed bag, but it's the card that we're dealt, and you know, we have to make the best of it, and that's why I'm out here running hard, pushing hard to say, look, we still have to fight on. We can't allow what happened to us as a country to just destroy us.
Speaking of COVID-19, it's been estimated that only 10% of this new $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief bill coming out of Congress, only 10% of it actually goes to fight COVID. What's your impression of this bill?
I'm outraged by it. In fact, it's costing the average American family about $5,700, and they're giving us a measly $1,400. You know, and so the reality, we have to start reining in. We have to put people who are looking out for the people, not looking out for their buddies and their friends and all these other entities. The reality is Americans have been shuttered in their homes. Businesses have been shuttered down. And that money should be going towards moving the economy back into full gear. And what they have done is ridiculous, man. It's outrageous, to be honest.
If elected, if people decide to honor you with their vote, what will your priorities in Washington be, Claston?
Education. Federal dollars need to follow families. We need teachers and we need parents. We need to put the decision of schooling back into the hands of parents and children.
Amen.
And teachers, and I'll say this, teachers should be paid as high as NBA player if they're good. They should not be controlled by government entities or union. So that means I'm radical when I say we need to privatize education for the most part, but I do know in certain areas, public schools, there's some pretty good public schools. So we have to find a balance, but if you're a good teacher, you should be able to make $1 million because you're bringing out the next Bill Gates. You know, you're building up the next Tesla.
Right.
You know, so we need to start. So education is why I'm here. Education is one of the most tried, proven, and tested way to get out of poverty. So we
Amen.
need to make that the emphasis. We can talk all these other fancy policies.
Right.
But the reality is, without education to understand how policies work, without education to teach you skills, you might not want to go to college and run up a student debt.
Right.
You might want to finish high school, and you might want to be able to have enough skills to go into the workforce and become a functioning adult. So we need to really change the educational system because it hasn't worked. And we can look at the statistics in black inner city area, Hispanic areas, where it has been tragic. And you should not be doomed to a life of poverty based on your zip code.
Amen.
So we need choices. So we need to be pushing choices. We need to be pushing vouchers. We need to be pushing savings, ESA. We need to be doing what's best. So for me, education, and also as an immigrant to this country, I'd like for us not to throw a carrot and dangle it in before immigrants,
Right.
but to put plans that are actually practical. And one of the things that I'm looking at is actually people who are undocumented, give them migrant worker status so they're able to provide for their family and not become a pawn or a ward of the state.
Amen.
Because as long as we keep them in the shadows, then we're losing. We're not trying to uproot and destroy families, but we need them to be participating in the American economy in a
sir.
legal way. So I would like to see some changes in immigration. You know, we need to deal with the whole abortion issue. 43% of black babies are being killed by abortion.
Yep.
And you'll have politicians who are saying they're disenfranchising our black votes, but then they're saying abortion, kill the black babies, kill the next LeBron James, kill the next Michael Jordan. We're doing a disservice. And people will say, well, it's the woman's right and she can do whatever she wants to do and it's her choice to kill the baby. But it's always being made by the people who have been given that opportunity to live.
U.S. News and World Report recently named the state of Louisiana as the worst state in the nation. They based it on health care,
Yes.
education, infrastructure, crime, and corrections. What do you make of this ranking, and how do we fix this?
You know, and I will say this to people. To get my information, go to bernardforcongress.com, bernardforcongress.com, bernardforcongress.com.
That's bernardforcongress.com.
Now, you know, Louisiana, I came from Jamaica. I came from an impoverished family situation, and I came to the state of Louisiana, went to LSU, have my college degree, got my college degree, became a national champion, a two-time Olympian, and Commonwealth Games gold medalist. Now, that's in the state of Louisiana. They were able to take someone from an impoverished country and make him into a champion. But yet still, we are in Louisiana because the political will at B is in the way of the people. We're not able to advance. We're losing our brightest minds to other states.
Yep.
Why are we doing that? Because our system is not designed to keep people. So we're becoming like the feeder programs for everybody else.
Right.
So infrastructure, it is poor. We have to do something about that. We need some underwater bridges. We need to connect I-49 all the way through to New Orleans. We need to do some things. We need to overhaul a lot of things that is wrong. But again, the education, we're what, 47 in education?
47, 48.
So the public education system is a complete failure in the state. Now in New Orleans, I know that the charter school has gotten a little bit of success.
Right.
In Baton Rouge, it's a mixed bag, a trick. So we need more options in terms of education, and that's where my education plans come in. High quality preschool education plans,
Definitely.
after school programs that actually help students become better at different tasks, whatever they want to do. If they want to learn dancing, swimming, if they want to become a pipe fitter, an AC tech, if they want whatever skill they want to learn, they're able to better equip themselves, because the more skill set you have, the more attractive you are as an economy for companies to come in and set up shop, because now they have a ready labor force. But if you don't have the skill base set and companies come in, then they're unable to tap into the labor force. The other thing with healthcare, we have Medicare and we have Medicaid. Why are we still in the position that we're in?
Good
because
question.
we need system that is working with the private and public partnership. We need a better educational system. There's no reason why we should be at the bottom of the table in healthcare. So we have to start looking into that. One of my things is this. each year, you get a $2,000 deductible.
Right.
And that goes towards, you paying for your insurance premium. So now you can actually pay $60 a month for your insurance, and you're able to save that money and use it for something else, while your deductible grow interest over a number of years. We can then cap and says after 10 or 20 years, you will no longer get this $2,000, which is transferable. But then if you have something happen, you're able to go pay. If your deductible is at $5,000 or $10,000, you will have enough built up to deal with that. So we need to find creative ways to make healthcare more accessible and cheaper, and that all people have access to it. So there are ways we can look. And back to infrastructure, we are a port city.
Right.
We're sitting on the Gulf.
Right.
Why are we not leading in that? So there's so many great things we have here, but we need to develop them.
Can you stick with me for a few more minutes?
Sure.
Let me get this break out of the way. We're talking with Claston Bernard, Republican, great American, candidate for Congress. And Bernard
for
Congress.com is the website. If you need more info, and I'm certainly sure you want to, give him a look. Give him a talk. You're going to see him all over the place. He gets around like nobody's business. His campaign staff was telling me this morning, God, this guy's hard to keep up with. He has us everywhere. And that's the kind of guy that we need representing us in our nation's capital. Quick break. We're going to come back and talk more with Claston right here on the Clarence Bugg Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back.
Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Team Honda wants to thank you for once again making us Louisiana's #1 new car dealer by offering you never-before-seen savings. For the first time ever, get 0% financing up to 60 months on some of your favorite Honda models. Get thousands in savings right now at Team Honda on Segan Lane.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Mandafine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Mandafine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Mandafine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Spending some time with Claston Bernard, Republican, and yes, you heard me correct, Republican candidate for Congress. Claston, the state Republican Party recently, in endorsing you with their official endorsement, said that you are, quote, exactly the kind of outsider that we need in Washington, D.C. How desperately do we need fresh blood, new blood in D.C.?
Well, you know, we can go to the history of what's going on in the black community. Mm-hmm. And we can easily blame all the Democrats and say, you know what, they've run these cities into the ground. But until we get in there and put an infrastructure in there, then it's not really an honest statement. Mm-hmm. So what we do need is to have more people who the Republican Party is behind, right, like myself, saying, this guy can get it done. We're behind him. We're behind you. Mm-hmm. Come over and support him, mm-hmm, and make this possible. Now, when Washington, D.C. see that members, people within the black community, within our community say, we are behind this guy because he's for our values. Mm-hmm. He's here looking out for our children. He's here looking out for the church. He's looking out for what is precious and dear to us. That will be the message. Not so much me going there, but the people, especially in Congressional District 2, who are majority black, right, saying, we want this guy to represent us, because it's not about political party. Mm-hmm. It's about who we are as a people.
Yeah. Since deciding to run and hitting the campaign trail, what have you learned about the process that you didn't know before?
We need an infrastructure in the black community as conservatives. Mm-hmm. We have to get in there and we have to show them that our message is not just intellect, but there's substance to it, and there's substance to who we are. Right. And because, again, they've only been shown one side of the coin for the most part, mm-hmm, you know, and unfortunately, we now have to go in and we have to show this is the other side of the coin, mm-hmm, you know.
So since deciding to run and hitting the campaign trail, what has Claston Bernard learned about himself?
You know, it's things I've always known about myself, mm-hmm, but sometimes after a while you just kind of just, you know, stand by yourself and, mm-hmm, you forget that, you know, persistence is important. It's important to be persistent, and I think it's rekindling that, but it's also, I'm learning so much. I still haven't had time to process it. Right. Because you see people and they're genuine and they want to talk to you, they want to sit with you, and they want to have, you know, and there's so many things that comes up at that moment, and I just haven't had the time to honestly sit down, right, and says, what have I learned? Is it because I'm learning every day something different, something new, something fresh, right, good, bad, and, you know, whatever it is. Uh-huh. But I'm also learning that no matter how I feel, I have to continue to press on more than anything else.
I would imagine you cannot put a number on the percentage of our fellow Americans that have thought about running for an office at some point in their life, whether it's local, statewide, national, whatever. What advice would you give to that person watching you right now that has thought about running, is dissatisfied with what they see in their local school board, their metro council, their state legislature, Washington, D.C., but for whatever reason, they've never decided to take the leap and run for office? What advice would you give them?
Be fearless. That's the first one. Mm-hmm. Stand on your principles and understand the principles, not just the intellect, but you right, need to understand what are the principles behind who you are. Mm-hmm. Because there will come a time when you will be tested, and your principles are what you will have to hold on to, not your intellect. Right. And you just have to be steadfast, speak the truth, be candid, be honest and open with people. And people will see that. People will see that you're not just a canned product that's, you know, somebody picked off the shelf and says, hey, just have this, you know. Right. So just, you know.
As you go around talking with the constituency, asking them to honor you with their vote, what are give me the top 3 things that you find people of color, Louisianians, and those that live in the district that you're running for, what are they most concerned about?
One, education, crime, and they want someone they can trust. To be honest, I would say trust is the first one.
Yeah.
They really want someone who they can hang their hat on. And, they have sold Black America all these messiahs, that these people are your savior. And the reality is Black Americans are equipped and good enough to save themselves. And they don't need people to save them. They just need people to make sure the playing field is level for them to go out and play and succeed. So they just, more than anything else, it's trust, to be honest. The number two, I'd say they want educational opportunities. And there's concern about COVID. There are a number of different things. But then you can go back to even education and job opportunities. But when you have been educated in a certain system that doesn't work on your skill or your intellect level, then you're at a disadvantage. So there are a number of things, but I believe the biggest one is actually trust.
There is so much division in our country these days, particularly as it comes to where we're heading as a country, race relations, and the ever-widening gap in reality of perception from those we have elected to serve us and just average American people. We see the media fanning the flames of division, pitting this group against that group against the other group against another group. How do we bring ourselves back to being just Americans?
The church has to play that role. The church, the more the church disintegrate, the more we will disintegrate as a society, because the church has been the center of who we are. And we're allowing forces that are tribalistic in nature, or forces that actually wants to destroy the church. We've elevated them in the whether it's in pre-K, in K through 12, and also in our universities. They have been elevated above the voices of the church, and those voices need to be silenced, not in the sense of shut up, but the church has to be above them. The church is upstream, the family is upstream. So we have to allow the church to grow and become the voice of reasonability. We have to point to the cross as to the point where we seek justice, where we seek salvation, where we seek peace. We have to go back to those places, because that's what connects us. And there's no other forces that we can look at societies throughout history. Once you lose the religious aspect of your society, then it's the race to the bottom. So the big answer is that there's no government prescription that is going to fix it if the church is not involved.
When I listen to you talk, and of course I've been doing this for the better part of 4 decades now. My late father, God bless him, was Republican from the day he registered to vote until the day he died. And for me, I've been espousing this for so long that it's second nature to me. It is simply a part of who I am, having grown up in a military household, the whole nine. You're a young man. Knowing you are bucking the trend, you are swimming against the tide, you have all sorts of forces out there that don't want a man of color preaching the things that you are preaching. What is it that gets Claston Bernard up every day, still straps them on, and goes out to fight the good fight?
My family. I have a wife and 2 beautiful daughters. That means everything to me. And the reality is, when I go out there, I bring them with me. They're who I am. They're who we are as American. And when I read the history of this country, it was the reason for the Pilgrims. It was why they wanted a new life. When I look into the whole history of whether it was slavery and Jim Crow, it was the reason why blacks were able to hold on and stay together. So for me, each day when I go out there, I want my 2 daughters to know you can be proud of your country. You can have pride in your country because of who we are as a people, and you're not a victim. And, and it's not saying making light of what has happened in history. But we can't continue to interject ourselves in a time that no longer exists. And because if we do that, then we miss what's coming. And what's coming down the pipeline is socialistic and socialism ideas that will enslave all of us and only allow the elites to continue to be in control. So my fight is to continue to inspire my daughters, inspire my friends and my families, and hopefully people will see that and understand that, like you talk about with your father, you know, the way he was from the day you can remember till the day he died. There were certain values that he connected with, because it's what makes us human.
It is so very refreshing to encounter an individual who is the epitome of the American dream. Immigrating here, understanding, and maybe more importantly, appreciating the freedoms, the liberties, and the values that this country was founded upon and stands for, and having the willingness to stand up and fight for that, to keep this intact, not only for us, but for future generations to come. BernardForCongress.com. You gotta check it out. It is so refreshing. And there are a lot of you watching right now that have thought on more than one occasion, is Clarence the only one that thinks this way? Is there any value to what he espouses every day when I turn him on? Well, don't take my word for it. Check him out. He's the real deal. And I am so grateful again that we are not in a boxing match. I don't have to fight this guy, because we already know who would win, hands down. No question about that. My friend, it's great to see you again. God's best to you and yours, and good luck in the campaign. We need you in D.C.
Thank you very much, Clarence. And I always enjoy the opportunity for being here. And like I said, go to BernardForCongress.com. See this number up here? It's number 3. We're still in early voting. Go out there and vote and support my campaign, BernardForCongress.com. Also, we need all the monies you can put, because, you know, we are in a push. And this is to save our district. This is to save our state. This is to save our country.
Amen.
This is where it begins.
Amen. Well said, my friend. Bottom of the hour break. We'll get this out of the way, and we will continue on with today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Jaguar Nation, we need your help in masking up Louisiana.
Masks help us slow the spread of COVID-19.
During this time, we must continue to wear a mask. Wash your hands and practice social distancing.
It's important that we continue to abide by the CDC's guidelines to stop the spread.
Jaguar Nation, we challenge you to mask up. Go Jags!
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Tonight, President Joe Biden is set to address the nation. Talking about COVID-19, I would imagine the $1.9 trillion COVID-19 relief bill, and may touch on one or two other things as well in this address. Do not confuse this with the press conference. I mentioned yesterday that I get the feeling Democrats are deathly afraid of putting Joe Biden at a podium with a microphone in a situation where he has to field questions from the media. It was mentioned last week that the Biden administration has now broken records for a sitting president not coming before the media for a solo press conference. I misspoke yesterday when I said it's been 40 years since this has happened. Even the mainstream media, even the most liberal of the mainstream media, is now starting to pick up on this. On Wednesday of last week, CNN's CNN LOL's Jake Tapper tweeted the following, quote, "An analysis of the past 100 years shows President Biden's 15 most recent predecessors all held a formal solo press conference within 33 days of taking office. Biden has not, and it's day 42. That was tweeted by CNN's Jake Tapper 8 days ago. So we are now on day 51 and no solo press conference. The past 15 presidents, encompassing 100 years, have seen fit to come before the American people and answer questions off the cuff from the media. If everything was A-OK in America and the world this day, I could maybe understand that. Well, everything's fine, the economy's booming, foreign relations are at an all-time high, we're not involved in any scandals or anything, the border immigration system situation has been ironed out completely. There's nothing really to talk about. I could understand if that were the case. But in the midst of a global pandemic, in the midst of the destruction of the greatest economy in the world, in the midst of a surge of illegal immigration on our southern border, and in the midst of ever-increasing racial strife in our country, for the first time in over 100 years, the sitting president, the leader of the free world, has not seen fit to sit down one-on-one with the media and answer their questions. That's got to tell you something. If you are a thinking individual, if you possess the ability to put your political leanings aside, you would have to ask yourself at some point, what if in the midst of a global pandemic, when the economy is decimated, mental health issues skyrocketing, domestic abuse skyrocketing, illegal immigration skyrocketing, racial strife continuing to get worse, if a Republican president, much less Donald J. Trump, had refused to sit down with the media one-on-one and answer their questions, what would the reaction be? That's rhetorical. You don't have to answer. We all know the answer to that question. The media would have lost its freaking minds. We already know the answer. And yet, this is where we find ourselves. Now, if this is how you choose to run your administration, it is what it is. That's what you have decided to do. That's what you think is important. That's what you think is necessary. But you are the one that told people incessantly, we're going to be the most transparent administration in history. You are the one that said the American people have a right to know what is going on in their government and what our plans are to fix the things that ail our country. And yet, you are the guy that has now far exceeded your past 15 predecessors in holding a solo news conference. In addition, we have now recently found out that the most transparent administration in history is reportedly pre-screening questions for the White House press secretary, Jen Psaki, at her briefings. When we hold a press conference and we trot Ms. Psaki out there, we want to know ahead of time what your questions are going to be before we answer them. Even the liberals now in media are starting to get concerned. The White House Correspondents Association says, quote, "It remains unclear which, if any, reporters have cooperated with the administration's inquiries. They are urging reporters, those in the White House Correspondents Association, they are now urging their reporters not to accommodate the administration in that regard. Saying in essence, no, we're not going to tell you ahead of time what we're going to ask you. You'll find out when we ask you, and that will be your opportunity to answer." The most transparent administration in history. Maybe you don't want to have to answer one-on-one to the press about all of these executive orders, about the circumventing of the legislative process, the only 10% of the COVID-19 bill that's actually going to fight COVID-19, how Tens and hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants are now streaming across our borders. Maybe you don't want to have to answer that. Just a thought. Of course, it really shouldn't be that big of a problem for the most transparent administration in history. Wink, wink. Final break of today's show. We'll get her done, put that big old pretty bow on this puppy, and wrap up today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Mandafine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Mandafine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Mandafine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
We're making 2021 the year of savings, and it starts right now at Team Toyota. Come get a new 21 Corolla for just $189 a month, or get a 20 Camry for just $19,995. It's a year full of savings starting right now, right here at Team Toyota.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Welcome back to the final segment of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, I love it when I'm proven right. And if you have listened to me, watched me for any number of years, you know how big I am on Louisiana. And you cannot count the number of times when I am sticking my chest out about my Louisiana. I mentioned when people come here from all over the world, there are typically certain things that they always rave about. Obviously, top of the list, and I will leave to you to decide what's number one and what's number two, the people and the food. There, of course, in the top five will be the history, the culture, the architecture, and also in that top five, and again, I leave to you to decide where it belongs, is the music. It was announced this week that our state is showing up big time for the 63rd annual Grammy Awards. A total of 16 Louisiana acts are nominated for 23 awards, putting New Orleans, jazz, blues, Cajun, rap, and gospel under the spotlight. John Baptiste, who won a Golden Globe last month for his original score for the film Soul, is nominated for 2 Grammys. Best Contemporary Instrumental Album and Best New Age Album for Meditations. Who even knew there was such a category? P.J. Morton, a 14-time nominee who won Grammys in 2019 and 2020, is nominated for the Best Album for Gospel, according to P.J. Harry Connick Jr., Best Traditional Pop Vocal Album for True Love, a celebration of Cole Porter. Christian Scott Atunde, Best Improvised Jazz Solo for Guinevere, and Best Contemporary Instrumental Album for Axiom. Lucinda Williams, Best Americana Album for Good Souls, Better Angels. John Beasley, with 4 nominations: Best Large Jazz Ensemble Album, Best Arrangement, Instrumental or A Cappella, Best Arrangement, Instrument and Vocals for Asa Fachadas and Maria Mendez, and Best Jazz Vocal Album for Holy Room, live at Alti Opera. Bobby Rush, Best Traditional Blues Album for his work entitled Rawer Than Raw. Ladisi Best Traditional R&B Performance for Anything for You. J Electronica, Best Rap Album for his work Written Testimony. North Mississippi All-Stars. And I know what you're saying. I thought you said Louisiana. It's the North Mississippi All-Stars. Well, the late Carl Dufresne was a member of the band and a Louisiana native. Social Science, Best Jazz Instrumental Album entitled Waiting Game. Brian Blade, 2 nominations, Best Jazz Instrumental Album for Trilogy 2 and Round Again. Sweet Cecilia for a tribute to Al Berard. The group comprises 2 daughters and a niece of the late Al Berard, a Grammy-nominated Cajun musician. Cameron Dupuis and the Cajun Troubadours for their album by the same name, Cameron Dupuis and the Cajun Troubadours. And New Orleans Nightcrawlers for Atmosphere. If you'd like to see how our fellow Louisianians do in the 63rd Grammys, it's going to be held Sunday, March 14th, 7 p.m. Will take place in the Staples Center in L.A. It will be virtual this year, so all of the nominees will be attending virtually. There is an interesting side note in all of this. Of the 16 Louisiana artists nominated for a Grammy, 4 of them are alums of St. Aug in New Orleans. If you are a regular follower, a fan, if you will, of high school marching bands, and who isn't, the Marching 100, St. Aug, probably the most famous to come out of the Crescent City. You've seen them at all the big Mardi Gras parades. You see them at Saints games. They are an institution in and of themselves. And I guess it really shouldn't be that big of a surprise that 4 of Louisiana's 16 Grammy nominees all got their start, honed their craft, if you will, at St. Aug in New Orleans. Some people, and I guess one day we'll decide, some people still call it St. Aug, some call it St. Augustine, some call it St. Augustine. St. Aug is what I've always called it. So, that is what that is. But congratulations to all of the nominees, and hopefully all of you will come home winners. Yesterday, we shared with you the U.S. News and World Report rankings for the worst states in America. And we told you that, sadly, Louisiana ranks at the very bottom. This week, actually today, Wallet Hub released their listing of the 182 happiest cities in America. Now, I know what you're saying. Clarence is Wallet Hub. I don't know how much credence I'm going to give to them. Well, I'll leave to you to decide the accuracy of their polls or what have you. I am simply the purveyor of information. But of the 182, quote, happiest cities in America, no Louisiana state ranked in the top, no Louisiana city, forgive me, ranked in the top 100. I was a little surprised as I worked my way through this entire list. Shreveport came in at number 148. New Orleans came in 4 spots lower at number 152. And the capital city, Baton Rouge, came in 10 spots below New Orleans, 14 below Shreveport at number 162. I don't know, again, what the validity is to Wallet Hub's rankings of the happiest cities in America. But here's hoping that this coming weekend and the coming week and for the rest of your life will find you happy wherever you are in the great state of Louisiana. Before we go, don't forget, this Sunday, it is time once again to spring forward for daylight savings time. Hopefully, God willing, and the creeks don't rise, this will be the final time that we have to go through this. I said hopefully, wouldn't bet on it, just an observation. That being said, my time's up and I gotta go. But this day, just like any other, I give it to you. You're right. America, not perfect. But for this old boy's money, it's still the best there is. And God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you realize he loves you, right? And I hope you know that I do too. Either way, there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. We'll see you Monday. Don't forget, Claston Bernard for Congress.com. Check him out.